to build very intelligent applications which can speak, understand natural language, etc. to accelerate, understand things, etc. Yeah. So under cognitive services, we have decision making, then we have language, speech, vision, and web search. So under decision making, we have anomaly detector, where a person can be able to detect something that is off, or something like that. Then we can also have something like content moderator, where you can detect, for instance, offensive or unwanted content in your application. And then under languages, we can have things like translator, text analytics, natural language understanding, and such. And then speech, example of speech would be like speech to text, or the vice versa, or speaker recognition, where a speaker can be recognized through their voice when they're talking. And then under vision, could have something like computer vision, custom vision. So today we're gonna do a demo under custom vision. And then we have face detector, video indexers, and then web search. I think on web search, that's kind of very straightforward, where we have things like auto suggest, and new search, spell checks, those kind of things. So some of the real life examples is something like companies like Uber, where so to ensure the security, drivers normally take pictures of themselves, and then that picture is compared with what is in the files. So if the picture doesn't mark, then that means that's a different person in the car, and that could be a security issue. I mean, you wouldn't know who is driving the car if it's not the person in the files. And then we have people like KPMG, where so a company like KPMG, they normally have like so many catalogs to review, and like in this case, they're using it to review catalogs of recorded calls, and then in this case it's hours and hours of calls. So they're using this to be able to come up with something that is efficient and use it for analytics without like doing it so manually. These are other examples, and then like you can read about these other companies online. Like after this, I'll share a link for the docs where you can read more about this. So I think the demo might take a lot of time, so I really want to jump into it. But so far, is there any question? Okay, by silence, I assume that there's no question. So I'm gonna switch my screens. Yes, so just a few seconds as I switch my screens. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, we can see the screen.
You're saying custom vision?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So I didn't create anything yet because I wanted us to do this step by step. Oh, sorry guys. Okay, so I hope you guys will follow. So just Google customvision.ai, and then you create a new project. So I'll try not to be quick, just in case someone is following. But if you need me to be faster or slower, you can just let me know. You can just say that in the chats. And then, so after that, we'll just give, okay, so basically, use custom vision to classify your images. Yeah, so you can classify the images depending on your, let's say, business needs to come up with the solution that you desire. So in this case, for this demo, I'm planning to make an application that will be able to differentiate different vehicles. Yeah. So what you'll need to do as well is to download different images. Let's say if you want to differentiate cats from dogs, you can download at least 5 images of cats and 5 images of dogs. Yeah, if you want to differentiate, that's just an example. So yeah, or if you want to differentiate a boy and a girl or an ocean and a mountain, just 5 different images for each category, at least five images. So can I go ahead? At least guys say something so that I know that
Hello.
I'm not alone. Hello.
Can I please get a short recap of what you guys have been doing? I'm a bit lost.
Okay. So we're talking about cognitive services. And then we briefly went through the different services, and the cognitive services were different, or different APIs under cognitive services. We did, we talked about vision, talked about speech, language, web and web search. Yeah. And now we are just doing a demo under custom vision. Yes, and then I was talking about custom vision. I was saying that custom vision can be used to classify images depending on someone's business needs. And today, for my case today, I'm planning to use custom vision to create an application that differentiates different vehicles. So
Okay.
in the meantime, I'm asking guys to download at least 5 different images of anything that they'd like to classify. So for instance, if you want to an image that will be able to differentiate a cat and a dog, download at least 5 images of a cat and at least 5 images of dogs. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So guys, can I go ahead?
Yeah.
Okay.
We are with you.
Sorry?
You can go ahead.
Okay. So I believe
Yeah,
that
you can go ahead.
Okay, cool. So I believe that everybody has been able to access customvision.ai. Yeah, and I believe that you guys have free credits from your student emails. So we'll just give whatever your project a name. So I'll call mine vehicles. So if you do have a resource, you can just go ahead and create a new resource. But then you can use whichever. And then location, just choose the location that is closest to you. I believe West Europe is closest to me. Then you create a new resource. If you already had a resource, then just choose whatever is available for you. Create a new one if you'd like to. So after that, you'll see the different domains, classification type. Then, okay, so I'm using multi-class where there's a single tag per image. And then, okay, as we go on, you'll understand what a tag is. And then I'm using classification, okay? And then I'll create my project. So is everyone here?
Okay, I'm stuck.
Where? At what point?
Okay, I can't use the resource. It's asking for an Azure subscription.
Okay. So is there an option for creating a subscription?
Okay, it says need Azure subscription to proceed. Then the options they're giving is signing up for Azure, and I'm already using my student account.
Okay, yeah. So okay, yeah, for you to go ahead, you'll need to create a subscription. Yeah, so just choose the option for create a new subscription. Then just fill in the required details. It's pretty straightforward, just as creating a resource. Just straightforward, just fill in the required resources, and then you'll have it.
Okay.
Okay. So I can give you like a minute, and then you'll know. You let me know if you're still stuck. Okay. So everyone else has been able to get to this point. This guys at least say something. Okay, so if you're already at this point, as we wait for her, just be downloading images of what you want to classify. Remember, I said at least 5 images per category.
Is anyone stuck somewhere? So you guys are already where Rosianah is. You can continue.
Okay. So at this point, now I'll begin to add my images. I'm looking for a folder. Okay. So this is where I have my images. So I'll upload category by category. And then after that, sorry. And then I'll tag them as bikes and then upload. And then that is done. So I'll do that for all other categories that I have. So just go ahead, do that. I'm also doing the same thing. So if you're stuck, just ask away. Yeah, so to add another category, just go to add images, and then I have buses, so I'm just and then tag it as bus. So basically, I have 5 categories, and it has 5 images. So have we all been able to at least get to this step, uploaded the images for whatever we want to classify or test?
There's someone in the chat saying the account is not supported. So I think, do you have a student? Have you activated your student email?
Yeah.
Can you log in with your student email? Then add. Then when you logged
I've
in, you
tried
go
that.
to. Yeah.
I've tried that. Yeah, inakataa kabisa.
Error yako ni nini?
Pardon?
The error
What is your
is
error?
the account type is not. Check
Inasema
the chat.
tu account type not supported. Like I was trying to add a subscription from the portal.
But then could that be because probably I'm a use up credits zake? Could that be a reason?
I am not sure, but maybe we can check on your problem. I don't know.
So, but the meeting is recorded.
Yeah. Maybe we can check on your account later on.
Then we can work on it later and then through the video instead of try and follow up.
Okay.
Okay then. Sorry about that. Nice. So is anyone else who's stuck? Okay. Silence means no. Okay. So when you get to this point, what you want to do is train. Sorry. It's to train your app. So you just go to train. And then, okay, I'm going to do a quick train because it's going to take shorter time. Yeah, so after you train, this is basically how your application is performing. So I believe it's performing really well because everything is just 100% from precision and then recall, then AP. So now after I've done that, now I can just quick test. You can just do a quick test. So I'll just browse for another image and then just paste the URL here, then see if my application gets it right. So I'm just looking for an image. Sorry. Okay. In the meantime, as I continue to browse for images, has everyone been able to train? So I got a URL. Oh gosh. Oh. Oh yeah, so as you can see, the predictions are over here and then gives you the probability. So we have bike and the probability is 100%, while the rest are 0%. So has everyone been able to do all that? Okay, silence. Okay, what does silence mean? Okay, yes. Okay, I believe that's a yes. So basically that's it. And now after you do all this, you can just come here and get your keys and the endpoint, and then put it in your application. Let's say you're building a web application and you want to include something like this, then you can just come get the endpoint and then the key, and then if you need the resource ID, then put them in your application and boom, you have this. Yeah, and of course just remember that the more images you use to train your model, then the more accurate it will be. So 5 images is just the basic requirement for the demo. Yeah. So do you guys have any questions about custom vision?
Rosianah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I think this should be an inbox question though. If I have, this is my first session, yeah?
Yeah.
And I started like when you guys are already 20 minutes into the session.
Okay.
is there a procedure that I could follow later so that I can catch up? So the next time we have the class, I don't have to just stare.
Okay. So I think the meeting is recorded. So at least that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Then,
is it linked to
yeah.
the previous meeting that you had?
I don't think so, but then is it?
Is it linked to?
Is it like a follow-up from the last session you guys had?
No.
No.
The last
Okay.
session, no, it's not linked to the last session. The last session was on R, so no.
No. So I can just follow up the.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so do you guys have any question about custom vision?
Hey, Rosianah.
Hi.
Just one question. Is there a way to link the Microsoft Cognitive Services and an external application like MATLAB, or some materials maybe, or a link to where I can find just
To link cognitive services with what? I just had MATLAB.
with MATLAB.
Wow. I'm not really sure. Would you please explain the scenario a bit more?
So maybe you someone wants to, like, how can I say, move a robot arm to do some processes using image processing, and I've seen the cognitive services are really good and fast. So can I get maybe a result from the Azure Cognitive Services, and then the application on MATLAB will run the results from cognitive.
Oh, okay. I don't lie to you, but I'm not really sure about MATLAB.
Okay.
Yeah. But then you can just check online. Okay. So I don't think that can happen. Is Josh in the call?
For text there is. For text I saw there's a way. So I for images no resource, but I'll check it out.
Okay. So then I guess if there's that option for text, then there's a probability that then there is for images as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Get any other question? Oh yeah, and guys, this was just one small bit of custom vision. Of cognitive services. We have like face recognition, video indexers, where you just follow the steps, as like it's all very simple, or translations, and then at the end of it, well, after you train it, then you just need to get your keys and endpoints, and that's what you need to put in your application, and then like you have now everything running. So you, as you can see, you really don't need to have major background in something like machine learning or AI to be able to do this. So cognitive services has made this really easy for everyone to build smart applications.
Does using Azure require one to know how to program? Does it require you to have knowledge in programming?
I think that depends on a lot of things, because it depends on what you want to use on Azure. Yeah. For instance, if I'm working with virtual machines, which I have to, okay, for instance, let's say something like, I'm trying to look for a good example. I have a virtual machine and an application gets a lot of load at, let's say, at 6 p.m. Yeah, and let's say at 2 p.m. I normally have like small load, so then I don't need to use like much resources on the application. I can just have things like auto scaling and all those kind of things. So when giving this example, it's just to show that like it all depends on what you're doing. So if I'm working this virtual machine, like there's a certain knowledge that I would need compared to when I'm working with, let's say, this custom vision. Like this, you need understanding of what you're actually working on. That's what I'd say. Or would on the other hand, if I'm not sure if I answered your question, but I assume that you're asking like if you need to know how to code and all that.
Yeah, I think that's what Helen, is your question answered? Oh, yes. So there's another question. Can these applications that are using Azure be commercialized? Like, can you use them for commercial purposes?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can use them, but then you have to pay for them. Yeah, I believe that cognitive services APIs are normally paid for. It's just that you guys have free student credits. That's why they're free. Yeah. So you create your application and that's why in the beginning I gave examples of companies like Uber, KPMG who are using those in their products. Yeah. Like a company like Uber, like their transport company, it really wouldn't make sense if they spend so much time and resources building a whole model to do their facial recognition. So they just use the face recognition API to solve the security issues with their drivers. Yeah, and that's an example of a commercial use.
I don't think anyone has any other question. Anyone with any other question? Any question about Azure? Any cognitive? Oh yeah, there's another one. Can this Can these applications be deployed on other platforms other than the cloud?
Other platforms, what do you mean? Because you normally host in the cloud, or
Okay.
I don't know.
It's me. What
Yes.
I mean is, does it mean like you can only use them on Microsoft Cloud, or they can be deployed in other places, like have a PC, an application for PC without having to use cloud?
or like you mean, for instance, if you have a desktop application and then you wanted to use this service?
No, like, okay, the application you created, I think from what I've understood, it's on the cloud, right?
Yeah.
So can
Yes, my application is on the cloud, but then
so
I'm not sure if I'm really getting your question. I could be having a web application when I want to integrate probably translation. Okay, so build like a translation model and then get the API. I mean, get the keys and endpoint. So the key and the endpoint, probably the resource ID, that's what I'm gonna put in my web app code to be calling now this API. Does that make sense, or does it answer your question?
I don't know, like what I mean. An example of an application on a PC, something like PyCharm. It's an editor, so
Yeah.
and it's not using like cloud or anything. It's just on the PC. Everything, the computation, storage.
Okay, yeah. So you mean like an application on your local host?
Yeah. So can the one I've created on the cloud now be transferable, like on the PC, in short, to be a PC application?
Okay, yes, you would achieve that, but then the app would still be hosted on Azure. And then on your local host, you could use something like ngrok to tunnel so that when you make the API call to it, then it can be able to respond in your local host. I hope that answers it now.
Yeah, clears it a bit.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's okay.
Cool. And so I'm gonna post a link to the docs for cognitive sciences. Then in your own time, you can just try out different ones which seem interesting to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Rosianah.